Hello, I'm Future Man, and I am one of the folks kind of spearheading the library. And kind of the whole point of the library is it is a cooperative learning center where anyone can be as involved as they want to be in their education and also helping to provide educational resources for others. Let's see. I guess we kind of have some focal points. All of our information there is kind of directed at being countercultural or alternative to mainstream society and the normal Babylonian nonsense that you're constantly barraged with. But at the Alternative Library, we support extremes of any variety, whether it be to the far left or to the far right. But because we're surrounded constantly by moderation, and that doesn't seem to get us really anywhere. He knows. Well, it's kind of some of the focal points of the library are community. So that would include like education, community building, like of human beings interacting with each other. And we have like a lot of things on like architecture and design, permaculture design, gardening that goes in line with community building. We also have like in line with community also is education and family health, and we have a pretty good collection of radical children's literature as well. And we also focus on media and communication by supporting different forms of communication and trying to bring an aesthetic experience to learning by including graphic literature and a lot of comics and experimental art so that it can promote a more kind of soulful way of communicating that is more tied to an aesthetic experience rather than an anesthetic experience like most typical education. What else do I have on my little dealie? Yeah, those are my thoughts for the moment, I suppose. I'm going to hand it over to Grace, who is probably a much better public speaker than I am. So take it away.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank everyone for being here, like everyone else has been saying. It's really nice to see people gathering in the pursuit of peace. So some things I wanted to say about the library are we are an educational community. So it's different than maybe your traditional library in that it's way more interactive. We think this is really important in expanding our idea of what an educational center means. If we think about what education centers we've seen in our lives or in the media, they're very limited. I mean, there's like elementary school through college, maybe there's public libraries, but who are those things serving? Those are serving young people and people with privilege. And the public library, which is a really great thing, which, as Colin said, serves certain elements of our intellectual experience, but not others. So one thing that we seek to do is fill in the holes where other educational centers kind of left off. So with the idea of schools serving the young and the privileged, we're definitely reaching out to people that are not served by schools. And this is a lot of people. People that are older, people with mental disabilities, people that are homeless. I mean, you name it, we have people coming to the library who are trying to investigate learning, and it's really beautiful. And then with adding to the public library, we offer more of an interactive experience. one of the great things about the library is we're there for discussion. So you come in, you want to talk about anything, and the librarian is there to engage with you and to provide books for you for whatever adding to that learning you'd like to do. So that's really important. Also, creating a culture of diverse opinions and voices. We have a wide variety of different authors and perspectives. And like Colin was saying, just deviating from the normal moderation and, I forget the word, is kind of like complacency learning. Like, okay, whatever. Just like getting passionate. And like Colin said, also, so critical spaces. We aim to not just educate, but really engage and ask questions of what we're learning. And so we're not giving you a book and telling you this is fact, but like, hey, let's comment on like how much of this is bullshit and how much of this is not and why. And I think those conversations are really important. So also countercultural education is a huge thing. I think to go into a little more detail about that, culture feeds us all of these lies that are so deep and so widespread and so large scale that we can't even conceptualize them necessarily because they're just in our bodies and in everything we do. And so part of our goal is to counteract all of that by trying to get people to ask those critical questions. And these large-scale lies can be anything from, the effectiveness of the war on terror or the war on drugs or the myth of justice in the legal system or, discriminatory beliefs or naturalizing violence as normal or, I could go on and on. There's lots of lies. So, exposing the lies. And I think that this is especially important for children and youth. We're trying to encourage the center to be more of a youth center because we want to have more opportunities for children to do things besides just hang out on the street or get into drug culture or drinking or whatever other mindless activities. And that's not just for children. Adults also do that. And provide an alternative also to their normal schooling. In contrast to normal schooling, we also want to bring about personal growth through education. So not just things about society, but how can we grow in our own, ways of doing things and interacting with each other. And then also, like Colin was saying, or Future Man was saying, practical education, like things about how to build or how to garden or things like that. One last thing I was just thinking of was just thinking about education centers the way they are and why they are that way and who they're serving is really important. Like education, I think in a lot of ways is serving to create people that fall in line with what society wants them to do. And so traditional education seeks to control people. And so one of our goals is having education that seeks to free people. Anything else to say?
If you want to take a look at a small sample of kind of books that we have at the library, I brought down a table's worth of really high quality lit to take a gander at. So if you've got a free moment, come and check it out and see what the alternative library is about. And if you want to get involved, we're open every day from 2 to 7 at 717 North Forest Street.